So you just sat.
No! My fiancé insisted I meet her ex at a bar to prove I wasn't the jealous type. He spent an hour ridiculing me while she chuckled along, and then she said, "Well done, you passed the test." I simply smiled and covered the bill. This morning, after ignoring dozens of missed calls, I finally picked up the phone. It was her ex, in tears, because the whole test had been my idea from the start to get him to confess on camera that they were still sleeping together behind my back. He broke down completely, admitting everything while the hidden recording captured every word. I stayed calm, thanked him for the confirmation, and ended the call. Later, when she showed up frantic and demanding answers, I just played the footage for her. Her face went pale as the truth sank in. No more tests needed. My fiancée forced me to encounter her former boyfriend at a local bar just to demonstrate that I wasn't prone to jealousy. He dedicated a full hour to mocking me as she laughed heartily, and afterward she declared, "Congratulations, you passed." I merely grinned and settled the entire tab. This morning, having disregarded around 50 missed calls, I answered the ringing phone. It was her ex, sobbing uncontrollably, because the entire setup had been my plan all along. I had secretly arranged it to coax a confession out of him on video that they were still involved intimately. He wept as he spilled every detail, unaware the camera had been rolling the whole time. I kept my composure, told him the evidence was solid, and hung up. When she burst in later, panicked and full of questions, I simply showed her the clear recording. Her expression crumbled as reality hit her hard. The game was finally over. My fiancé made me sit down with her ex-boyfriend at a bar to show that I wasn't the jealous kind. He used up an entire hour belittling me while she found it amusing and laughed, then she announced, "Congratulations, you passed the test." I just smiled politely and paid for everything. This morning, after overlooking 50 missed calls, I finally took the call. It was her ex, crying on the line, since the so-called test was actually my clever scheme to lure him into admitting on hidden camera that they were still hooking up. He completely fell apart, revealing all the secrets while the footage captured it clearly. I remained composed, confirmed I had what I needed, and disconnected. When she arrived later in a frenzy, insisting on explanations, I quietly played the video for her. Her face drained of color as the betrayal became undeniable. No further proofs were required. My fiancé required me to meet her previous partner at a bar in order to prove I wasn't jealous by nature. He spent 60 minutes deriding me as she giggled and enjoyed the scene, and she concluded with, "Congratulations, you passed." I only smiled and took care of the check. This morning, after paying no attention to 50 missed calls, I answered the phone. It was her ex, weeping, because that test had been my idea the entire time, to trick him into confessing on camera that they were still sleeping together. He broke down in sobs, blurting out the full story as the secret recording ran. I stayed steady, let him know the proof was secured, and ended the conversation. When she later stormed in, desperate and questioning everything, I simply let the footage speak for itself. Her world visibly shattered as the truth unfolded. The test had served its real purpose. My fiancé arranged for me to meet her ex at a bar to confirm I wasn't the jealous type. He devoted one whole hour to taunting me while she laughed along, and she remarked, "Congratulations, you passed." I simply smiled and paid the bill. This morning, after ignoring about 50 missed calls, I picked up the phone. It was her ex, in tears, because the test itself was my secret plan to get him to admit on video that they were still intimately involved. He collapsed emotionally, confessing everything while unaware of. Hidden camera rolling. I kept cool, assured him the evidence was undeniable, and hung up. When she showed up afterward, frantic and demanding to know what was happening, I calmly played the recording. Her shock was immediate as the betrayal sank deep. There would be no more games after that. My fiancé compelled me to have a meeting with her ex-boyfriend at a bar to demonstrate that I wasn't jealous. He used a complete hour insulting me as she laughed, and then she said, "Congratulations, you passed the test." I just smiled and covered the tab. This morning, after disregarding 50 missed calls, I answered the call. It was her ex, crying, since the whole challenge had been my strategy to record him confessing that they were still sleeping together. He wept openly, spilling every detail on the secret footage. I remained calm, told him I now had solid proof, and cut the call short. Later, when she arrived in panic, pressing for answers, I quietly showed her the video. Her face went white as the reality crashed down. The real test had worked perfectly. My fiancé made me go meet her ex at a bar to prove I wasn't the jealous sort. He spent a full hour making fun of me while she laughed, and she told me, "Congratulations, you passed." I merely smiled and paid the entire bill. This morning, after ignoring 50 missed calls, I finally answered. It was her ex, sobbing on the other end, because the test was actually my idea to capture his confession on camera that they were still hooking up. He broke down completely, admitting it all as the recording continued unnoticed. I stayed composed, confirmed the evidence was clear, and ended the call. When she later rushed in, upset and full of demands, I simply let her watch the footage. Her expression fell apart as the truth became impossible to deny. No more tests were necessary. My fiancé insisted that I meet her former boyfriend at a bar to show I wasn't prone to jealousy. He took 1 hour to ridicule me as she chuckled. And she said, "Congratulations, you passed the test." I just smiled and settled the tab. This morning, after ignoring 50 missed calls, I answered the phone. It was her ex, in tears, because that test had been my plan from the beginning, to get him to confess on hidden video that they were still sleeping together. He sobbed as he revealed everything, the camera catching every word. I kept my cool, let him know the proof was secured, and hung up. When she burst in later, frantic and seeking explanations, I played the recording for her. Her world visibly collapsed as the betrayal hit home. The setup had delivered exactly what I needed. My fiancé demanded I meet her ex at a bar to prove I wasn't the jealous type. He spent an hour deriding me while she laughed, and she declared, "Congratulations, you passed." I simply smiled and paid the bill. This morning, after ignoring 50 missed calls, I picked up. It was her ex, in tears, since the entire test was my clever setup to record his admission that they were still intimately involved. He fell apart emotionally, confessing it all on the secret footage. I stayed steady, assured him the evidence was in hand, and disconnected. When she arrived afterward, panicked and questioning, I calmly showed her the video. Her shock turned to devastation as reality set in. The real purpose of the night had succeeded. If you enjoyed this satisfying twist in the story, make sure to keep watching Reddit Tales Time for more incredible Reddit relationship stories, revenge tales, and jaw-dropping drama every single week. If this clever payback and shocking confession got you hooked, hit that like button right now, it really helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe for fresh Reddit stories delivered straight to your feed, and smash the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. I read every single comment, so drop your thoughts below. Would you have pulled off the same secret plan?
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a twist. Stay tuned to Reddit Tales Times for your daily dose of drama, laughs, and unbelievable stories.